Okay, so this video here will be about everything about Lolita. Lolita, as you all know, is a tank slash support. She's not a really very tanky hero, but because of her innate passive skill, she's able to give shield to herself and her allies and protect them from projectiles. That's why she is listed as both a tank and a support. Now let's see what are those skills that makes her as such. For this one, whenever Lolita doesn't take damage, within 5 seconds, she will charge and then up until such a time that she will gain a shield, and then afterwards, her closest ally will also gain a shield. In this instance, she can also, whenever she doesn't take damage and she gives an ally a shield, another ally a shield, it's up until that point. Those shields do not stack. As in, when an ally can only have one shield granted to them at any point in time. But this also means that all of your teammates, if you're all sticking together, Lolita can just give them a passive free shield. Who doesn't like that? What a support. Next, her maneuverability ability, charge. So with this one, she can dash a certain distance. Then after dashing, she can jump to the enemy within a certain distance of her, within a certain circle of her, and then it deals 7.5% of the target's max HP, not current HP, max HP. So this will deal a lot of damage. This is her main CC and reliable stun, because whenever you hit the target, they will be stunned for 0.8 seconds. Cooldown is 10 seconds across the board, but the damage increases from 7.5% up until 10% extra damage. The base damage also increases. And next, Guardian's Bulwark. She can, with her skills, with this skill, block any projectile, range attacks from the enemy. No, this does not block turrets. She will take the damage from the turrets, but at least the enemy MMs, who usually have range basic attack, those heroes who have range skills, they will all be cancelled. All those attacks, whenever your shields are up, coming to Lolita's shield, they will be cancelled. And another, aside from that, not just cancelling the opponent's skill, whenever she absorbs damage coming from enemy sources, she also builds up the damage that she will deal with that shield. It's like converting your shield into a damage source. So, as you can see below graph, minimum damage, you have 400 to 600. It scales with the level, so you can have like take no damage, but still your minimum damage whenever you hit is 400 to 600. This is still good to harass the enemy or take away the creep waves. And maximum damage of 880 up until 1320. That's still a lot of damage. You soak up so much damage and deal so much damage as well. Now, as you can see, the cooldown for this one scales with the level, 17.5% up until 15%, versus the first skill, which is just 10 seconds. So normally what we would do is we would scale the second skill first, because this is the most you could say support that she can provide, but it depends on the battle. If the enemy have a lot of physical abilities, melee heroes, then this ability wouldn't have that much impact. So maybe you would just go for the additional damage instead. So there's that consideration when you want to level up your skills. What's the priority of the skills? whether you want more damage to be done to your enemies or whether you want to have the lower cooldown but the possibility of having additional attack as well on this second skill, then you can just balance it out. There's no right skill build for this. But of course, when it comes to the ultimate, we always level it up whenever it's available. Because look, after charging for 2 seconds, it's like a channeling skill. So as much as possible, you have to be in a safe distance from the enemy, making sure that the enemy doesn't have any CC when you're charging this, because if, like, say you got hooked by Franco's hook, when you're charging this ability will get cancelled. So you should have to have maximum effect, charged for 2 seconds, then it will deal damage in a conical area in front of her. And when this skill hits after charging for 2 seconds, the enemies hit inside will be stunned for 2 seconds. That is a lot of damage. So with this skill, it's also kind of flexible. You might want to just spam the damage if you think that the enemy will just get out of the way of the cone and you don't have other ways to ensure that the enemy stays inside the cone. You can just press it again and proc the ultimate before the 2 seconds are up, so that at least, even though the enemies are not stunned, they can take the damage from the ultimate, from your ultimate. The damage will stay the same. And then also, within those 2 seconds of charging, enemies will experience a slowness in their movement speed. So that's some kind of control, unless they can flicker out or dash out, or they have that sense of oh my god, why am I being slowed? There must be a Lolita nearby. Something like that. All in all, this skill is very versatile to use. It takes some experience to know your positioning, how to maximize the scope of how many enemies you can hit, when is the timing to use this, and there are many variables in using the skill. So you have to take into account that whenever you're charging the skill, the opponent will just see your animation. They cannot see the cone, they cannot see the scope of the cone, they will just be experiencing the slowness effect on them, and then your casting animation, so they will think, oh my god, Lolita is charging her ultimate, but I don't know if I'll be able to get out of her ultimate at all. So they're free to think, do I just charge Lolita and then try to cancel her ultimate before going to another target, or do I just back away? So this causes some kind of chaos in the fight when there's that split second that the team fight is happening and then you're charging. Usually, the communications in those instances will not be that crisp. Others might still want to commit and kill your teammates, while others will just go back away unless they want to be vulnerable in the sake of being stunned for 2 seconds. So this could cause some chaos. This could cause some of the enemy team to lose focus and attack you instead, which is good because you're supposedly the tank. And then, yeah. So these are the CC abilities of Lolita. Other effects that we need to take into consideration, aside from the skill build and her skills, is her item build. So she's under support or tank. You can see she's here, or you can see she's under the support. as you can see, there are many items that you can use for Lolita. For boots, I recommend either using rapid boots so that you can have the initiate advantage when you're using the first skill, her dash ability, and then just hit the target, so that you will always be the one who can have a great setup, or wizard boots. So whenever you do assist on any team fights, on any kills on your enemies, you get passive 80 gold. And as a tank and as a support, that 80 gold can lead you to bigger items and can help you win if you can sustain that kind of gold economic advantage. Other boots, you can, if they're all physical, you can have warrior boots. You can have tough boots if there are lots of CCs in the enemies. Otherwise, you can have magic shoes if you want your cooldown reduction and just spam your skills. Your skills are relatively short, with 10 seconds and 14 seconds to 15 seconds respectively in your first and second skill, so you can just spam your first and second skills many times within a team fight. So that's for boots. As you can see, for boots, you can have many items that you can use. Warrior boots, physical, tough boots, magic shoe, rapid boots, wizard boots. What does this say about Lolita as a hero? It means that she's a very versatile hero. She's a support. So it depends on your play style, but mostly it depends also on the enemy lineup. So since you're a support and with your abilities, you're supposed to be the setup, you're supposed to be the crowd control, you're supposed to be the shield and the tank. Usually, Lolita is very flexible in that style. I recommend using Blade of Hephaestus because every time that you attack your enemies, it will lower the enemy's physical defense. This will, before your damage is applied, or any of your other teammates' physical damage is applied. So this will deal a lot of damage. This would cause a lot of damage to the enemies. So that's one attack item that you can look on if you're Lolita. I don't recommend using any of the others unless you're really greedy and going for Blade of Despair, in addition to your already high physical damage of 7.5. Remember, your first skill is 7.5% at the minimum of the opponent's maximum HP. That is a lot of damage. So you could just keep hitting the enemy so much for so much. But as a tank, I recommend using a lot of tank items, of course, to fill out the rest of your item slots. Thunderbelt is a personal favorite of mine to be used for Lolita. Not just because of the mana regen, of course, because every skill that Lolita has uses mana. So mana can be drained easily if you keep spamming your spells. So Thunderbelt is very good on this, and aside from that, it can also stack with your first skill. See, this one, its unique passive, whenever your next basic attack, whenever you activate its skill, it will deal 2% more of the hero's total HP. So aside from the 7.5 I mentioned earlier on your first skill, you would also have this 2% on top of that. That would deal like 10% or maybe more of the enemy in just one hit. And they would also be slowed for 1.5 seconds, aside from the stun that you've already given to them with your first skill. And this also gives you cooldown reduction on all your spells. Remember, your skills are already fairly low in cooldown duration. So like your first skill 10 seconds and your second skill 14 to 15 seconds. So with this cooldown reduction, you can reduce that further and spam your abilities further. And it also provides health, it also provides physical defense. So against a physical lineup of the enemies and you want to go charging in, Thunderbelt is very good against that. Another one is Dominant Ice. This has more physical defense compared to the Thunderbelt. This provides 500 mana if you think that mana regen is not enough, and you think that 500 mana is more than enough for you to spam your spells, then feel free to do so. This also have great unique abilities. Another 10% critical chance reduction and unique ability of 10% cooldown reduction. So this in fact makes you tankier against physical lineups, because this is the only item in the whole game that reduces critical chance. And this is great for Lolita because once you initiate, the unique passive of this item will lower the enemy movement speed by 5% and lower their attack speed by 30%. So imagine if you're an enemy MM and your attack speed is so slow, your damage that you deal will be significantly reduced. And let's say that you're an MM who relies on critical chance. Your critical chance will also be reduced. So this really shuts down the physical attackers. Of course, this has the downside of not having mana regen for sustainability within the whole game. You have to go back home to regen your mana or keep killing jungle creeps. And it doesn't have the additional HP that you could have from Thunderbelt. I'm not saying these are mutually exclusive items, but you can also pair them both together. Again, as with the movement items, you could see that I've pointed out 5 boots that you can use. Maybe even demon shoes if you really spam your skills, but I don't really recommend that. So as with the defensive items, you can really slot in anything depending on the circumstances. For me, I think Thunderbelt and Dominant Ice are very good against physical damage dealers, especially with Lolita's unique skills. And then Athena's Shield for the magical defense that you would need. You could use either Athena's Shield because it has the additional shield which stacks along with your own passive, making you have a bigger shield than usual, making you beefier than usual, and also gives you HP regen that Dominant Ice and Thunderbelt do not have. You could use Cursed Helmet if you're going for the more aggressive route. If you think that your attack damage, if you want to be on the aggressive using Blade of Heptases, then whenever you come into contact with the enemy, not even hitting them yet, the passive of Cursed Helmet would proc the passive of Blade of Heptases, reducing their physical defense before you even do anything. You just go near them. You don't even have to attack them yet. Because Cursed Helmet already deals 1.5% of their max HP per second. So imagine, if you do 1.5% of their max HP, along with reducing their physical defense, along with your own first skill, which has 7.5% maximum HP reduction, again, that is a lot and a lot of damage being done. And it's not just physical damage, it's also magical damage. So Cursed Helmet, again, if you're going for the more aggressive route, also, but compared to the Athena Shield, Cursed Helmet does not have the additional passive shield and does not have the HP regen. And of course, the magical defense is a little smaller, 56 for Athena's and Cursed Helmet with 50. But both of them have the highest physical magical defense items in the game. You can also have Oracle. This is very good also with Lolita because aside from the HP, aside from the cooldown reduction, which is very great as I've mentioned before with Lolita, it also provides magical defense. It's smaller compared to both Cursed Helmet and Athena's Shield, but Oracle has a unique passive which is very good with your abilities. You have a shield, so the effectiveness of the shield that you have will be raised by 25%. So you can imagine the shield that you have and then the amount of damage that you can absorb plus times 1.25. That's the effective amount of damage that you could absorb, and you could be tankier with this Oracle item. Immortality, of course. Since you're the initiate, you may be the one being gone on by the enemy. And in the chaotic instant that you use your ultimate and the opponent said, "Oh, let's kill off Lolita first so that she cannot proc her ulti on us. So just focus her. Low, you're still alive. After you died, your immortality, the unique passive of immortality would proc. You would get 300 to 1000 damage shield that you have on top of having 15% HP that you have, and then you could just use your first skill to dash away or open up your second skill so that any projectiles will just bounce off of you and cancel. So there are many items that you can use with Lolita. You could also go for Anticuirass or Sky Guardian Helmet for additional HP regen, Anticuirass for the physical defense, one of the bigger physical defense items that you could get, and as a support, Courage Bulwark gives you nice HP, gives you cooldown reduction as usual, and the unique passive is really what makes this very good. Increases 10% attack power of your defense and the defensive power of your allies. Your creeps can take more defensive turret damage so that your pushing power is better. Those are just passives, and you have an active skill that actually increases the movement speed of your whole team within an area. Also increases the physical and magical damage of your whole team by 20%. So if you're going for the support role and you just want to spam as a support role, Wizard Boots, getting those additional gold, and your defensive stat, Courage Bulwark, you could, if you think that if you just run at the enemy, you could take all of them down because they don't want to be, you could say, chased down. They just want to take a step back and deal damage to you from afar. This item would let your whole team speed up, hopefully catch them unawares. And there are also other items that you can use. Blade Armor, Wings of Apocalypse Queen, Brute Force Breastplate, Twilight Armor, depending on the circumstances. But the others, I think, are more usually used on Lolita. Courage Bulwark, Thunderbelt, Athena's Shield, Dominant Eyes, Oracle, Immortality. As you can see in my lineup, these are the items I go for. And then next, we go for the emblems usually used by Lolita. Usually you go for either support emblem or tank emblem because you're either a tank or support. As a support, you want to go for this one. Pull yourself together. Why? If you just want to maximize your ultimate along with a flicker battle spell, which I would get into later, then this would reduce the cooldown of those two abilities, and also you could just reduce the cooldown on your battle spell, which is a flicker, most probably, and you could spam it more often than not inside your whole game. So it doesn't really matter if you have what kind of other stats you put in, whether it's on cooldown reduction or HP or agility. I personally put it on agility. Then I put it on regen, hybrid regen, which means both HP and mana regen, along with pull yourself together. But more commonly, since when I pick Lolita, I'm like the tank or semi-tank for the team, so I want to go tank emblem because it gives me heftier stats all around. So I choose firmness and shield for physical and magical defense. More stats on my magical defense, because those inherently, that is the weakness of a tank, being magically bursted down instead of physical damage. Then I go for cooldown reduction. You could also go for other stats like physical defense or magical defense, depending on your assessment. And all these three spells can be used with Lolita. For the first one, you can use Tenacity, which gives you additional 35% physical and magical defense when your health is below 40%. So that's like the tank skill. But you could also go for the offensive, attack and defense. 0.4% of your max HP to your physical and magical attack. So remember the cursed helmet earlier, which deals 1 point something percentage magic damage to nearby enemies, and physical attack, Blade of Heptasis. You could also add to your first skills 7.5% maximum HP damage. So this gives you additional damage on top of that. But personally, I go for this one, Brave Smite. Crowd controlling an enemy grants 5% of max HP. So if ever you find yourself being in a tight spot, your life is going low, your enemy wants to focus and kill you down, you could cast your ultimate and they say, we're just gonna take your ultimate, because after your ultimate, if you no longer have your first kill to get out, we'll just kill you. But this one, whenever you use a crowd controlling skills, it gives back 5% of your max HP. So they would just be stymied that, oh, she gained life. Why? Makes you tankier than usual as well. So, for battle spells, usually you go for either Petrify, which gives additional CC on top of your already crowd control skills. Your first skill does not count as a crowd control, but it's an initiate. You put a stun, and with Petrify you put another stun in. You put magic damage with this, so it's a lot of time that you could set up for your teammates. But personally, I would go for Flicker, because this gives you maneuverability with your ultimate or your first skill that you can't find with any other skill. This gives you so much leeway in terms of, do you want to go be aggressive? Can you initiate before your teammates are there? Can you go chase down an enemy and kill them off, or back off instantly against any enemy? So you could go for Flicker, Petrify, Aegis, Healing Spell, maybe even Vengeance or Purify. It's really up to you, but personally I really recommend Flicker for the additional dimension that you could bring to your game, in addition and in combination with your ultimate. We'll see more of these combinations later when we watch our replay of a Lolita game. Unfortunately, this is a defeat on the side of the Lolita, but as you can see, the teams are fairly even, you could say. Both of them have a Selena as an assassin. Both of them have MMs with Kimi and Claude. But Lolita's team have their tank in Lolita. The only downside here is that you have two supports. Usually it's a bad sign if you have two supports because your team would be lacking damage. Both Lolita and Nana are not known for their damage capabilities. They're known for their CCs and their unique support abilities. While on the enemy lineup, they have a lot of burst. They got Harley, they got Karina, which sustains burst, and they're just spamming the first skill, harassing the enemy Claude, giving them that impression of, oh, I'm not alone, I'm not one-on-one with this Kimi. And also helping Kimi take the first buff. Don't take the last hit. Let Kimi take the last hit because she could use with the cooldown reduction and additional buff. Crab is already being contested. And very nice use of the first skill and the second skill. As you can see earlier, Harley has his first skill, throws cards, deals damage, but with the second skill of Lolita, she erases the cards being thrown her way. No damage inflicted, and she saw that, oh, your hat when you use your teleportation ability is not that far. I can reach you with my first skill. Even if you go to the other hat, you'll still die. And in that instance, rotation, rotation, rotation. You go where your team can do the most damage. If your enemy steps out of the line, you could go for that. You could help your teammates set up more damage with that 1-point-something% CC from your first skill. And within 2 minutes, trying to take, and succeeding in taking the turtle. Now for my items, I chose Wizard Boots because I think that as D-Tank, and I have a lot of teammates that can do burst damage with Lunox and Kimi. Oh, I used the second skill. Again, you could see that Claude's ultimate is blocked with the second skill. So yeah, again, using and taking Wizard Boots because I'm not the one gonna deal damage. I'll just be the one to provide CC, and maybe Lunox can finish it. All the other teammates I think can finish it. Even Nana with her ultimate can do burst damage. So I don't need to be the one to do the last hit. I just need to provide the assist. Then get the additional 80 gold that I can get. For my second item, I'm gonna go for Athena's Shield because as you can see, the enemy lineup has 4 people. Okay, seeing that Guinevere, there is the flicker ulti. As you can see, just when the ulti was about to proc, within 2 seconds of charging, I use my flicker. Then it hits. Remember, you can use flicker in different times. And don't be afraid to tank for your team. In that instance, I'm the one being ganked by Selena of the opponent's team. But I know I'm not alone. I have Kimmy behind me. And as long as Kimmy is behind me, even if they take my life as a tank, I'd be more than happy. Because the trade-off is my carry, my marksman, has additional gold to their name. Their economy will rise further. So I do my best, use my first skill, CCs, and again, with the usage of second skill, back away, use my ultimate, because in that instance, we've already secured the turtle, right? Once we already secured the turtle, my life is a bit around half health. So the problem is that Nana is being ganked on. So, and she's not in a really good position. So both Nana and I are in a bad spot. And then Kimmy was behind us. She's already got the damage with her BOD, Blade of Despair. And then Harley just keeps attacking. So they pressured mid, so I had to use my spells to take some trade-offs, and we did. Although I'm the one who died, it just means that it's a good trade-off because I'm the only one who died. Their Guinevere died, Harley died, so I think it's a good trade-off. Now I've already completed my Athena shield, so I have my boots on. I recognize that 4 of them have magical damage, and Claude does not nearly have even his first item, so I'm going to go for another magical defense build in the early game because that's where the damage will be coming from. So we're trying to set up where we can in this lane, trying to push. We don't want the Claude to have a free lane. As you can see, the second skill of Lolita can block even the Dexter of Claude, that teleportation ability that he has. He can block that. He can block the range damage coming from the creeps. And a good setup. There. So at this point, 7 minutes in, we're in the lead. But it doesn't mean that it's over. Remember, you have enemy MM. You have also an MM in your case. But Kimmy comes online a lot faster than Claude. Claude needs like 2 items to be online. So Selena goes for the gank on the enemy. Flicker ulti, but I couldn't seal the deal. Although, because of the additional CC that's provided by my ultimate, Selena was able to use her traps offensively and kill the enemy Karina. And again, she was able to kill another one of the enemies, Selena. So at this stage of the game, we're firmly in the lead. 2.5k advantage. We're pushing towers. Already got 2 to the 1 of the enemy team. And I'm just trying to harass the enemy Claude out of the lane, trying to limit his farm. Guinevere trying to go for the jump on me. And again, more additional harass. But at this point, we should not be contented with just finding kills. At this point, we should be going for objectives. Like, there's no more turtle here. So, which is the best place that we can go? Somewhere that doesn't involve kills. See? Because of that, Claude can just come in and take our lives. nice usage of the second skill to block many of Claude's damage. That in turn leads to 4 people dead on their team, compared to just 2 on our team. And top lane was pushed. So it's a win for our team, but you could already sense that the enemy is already gaining ground against us. Even with all the kills. You could see that early game, Kimmy and Selena are the ones providing the kills because Selena just plain lethal in the early game. That arrow combo into her combos, and then Kimmy just having that blade of despair just rips through the enemies. But now Claude already, after surviving that engagement, having 2 items instantly, going for his 3rd item. So you could sense that they're up and coming. What we should do here is group up and contest the enemy's lineup. But instead, you could see that we're going solo. At least we got the Karina kill. They got our Lunox kill. Oop. Okay. Stunned that Selena and dead. And another dead. So still a win which could have been very lopsided because both Guinevere and Harley weren't there. But that was a bad initiate on our part because we should have been grouping up and sustaining our lead. But instead, we're getting picked off, going many places at different times. So at this point in the game, you could see the goal difference of 2,500 earlier is just dipping down to 1,000. So the enemy is really approaching critical mass. You could say that they're coming online and hitting their strides earlier. Whoop. Cancelled the Selena arrow with my second skill. And Selena goes for Nana, but she went inside my ultimate, trying to go for our Nana. Sadly, our Nana, I don't know, but she opts to go for a physical damage route instead of magical burst. Nana is not really that strong with the physical output, but she's trying to make up for it with her items. And Lunox also getting killed in this scenario. In this game, both Lunox and the enemy, sadly, that flicker ultimate did not hit well. And I got killed with my immortality. As you can see, the gold lead is already... I should have backed right there. I should have just moved back. So, the gold lead is now in the lead of the enemy. Because of the farm by Claude. He's now firmly in the lead right now. He hasn't died. He's only died once in the last, you could say, 7 minutes, half a game. So, while Kimmy is the one doing the heavy lifting, but he's the only one. Selena has, at this point in the game, will fall off because of her burst potential and everybody being tankier than usual. in their higher levels. Looking at their levels, Claude is already level 14, nearing level 15 max level. So his HP would also be a little bit on the maximum. Now we're just trying to group up. And as you can see, while the enemy is farming, we're just trying our best to not let ourselves be swallowed by the constant threat of, oh, will there be a comeback? Because now, only Nana is farming. And that's Kimmy dead. You do not want to have your Kimmy be the first one to die in a fight. At the very least, we got that return kill on the Selena. But that's still an MM for an assassin. So, I mean, in the Karina. So, Claude is still farming and trying to see if there are any stragglers who are gonna walk behind and kill anyone retreating and gonna take this farm or taking the buffs below. He sees no one and just farms them up himself. And preemptively using the first skill, trying to... Claude gets the kill on our Selena, but with the CC that I use in my ultimate and the shield that I did, I was able to withstand the damage that so much that the Lunox could just come in and just blast him down. At this point in the game, Claude does not have any magical defensive items, so Lunox will be very lethal against him. And since it will already come the late game, 17 minutes in, enemy team 4K in the advantage. So point of the line of thinking is that, oh, Claude is already online, I need to be tankier, I need to be heftier than usual. I went for Thunderbelt for the physical defense, and I'm gonna go for Sky Guardian Helmet for the additional HP and regen that I can provide, so that I can just keep going inside the enemy lines. Selena, however, got picked off in a bad spot. No allies were there to help her out. Again, blocking the cards being thrown by Harley. And at this point we were far apart that Kimmy is just torn to shreds with the enemy Claude. At least we got the return kill, but it's not enough to sustain that. Hopefully I didn't die in this engagement with the Nana chicken. But as you can see, we've already been pushed back to our inhibitor turrets. That's how fast the game can flip over, and that's how fast Claude can come online with a few items. So scaling wise, Claude will always have a higher ceiling than Kimmy, because Kimmy comes online relatively faster. Kimmy went for the magic damage route with the concentrated energy and the Ice Queen wand, and also the penetration. Meanwhile, good item choice by Claude. He knows that most of the damage being dealt, instead of going for the BOD earlier, he's already got it queued up. He went back and get Athena's shield. Nice itemization on his part. He also went for Wind of Nature to withstand any physical attacks that can be dealt by Kimi. And now we're trying to contest for the Lord. Nice Winter Truncheon by Selena. And I was able to block all of the damage being done by Claude. But in the end they secured the Lord, and they would be able to take the team fight. Kimi is dead. They know that the damage will only come from magical sources anyways. But Nana again, this build, because of this build, you know that she can withstand damage. And you can do physical damage. But the only problem with this is you need to be nearer than usual to your opponent lineup. Then you want. At this rate, you're just reduced to spamming your ultimate instead of just spamming your skills and having higher damage output with your skills. So instead of having 4 magical damage, maybe the thinking is, oh, Kimi will not be enough, we need another physical damage dealer. Maybe that's our line of thinking, but in the end, it's another hard decision made. So we were able to kill the Lord in this instance, but that just means that all inhibitor turrets are down, super minions are up. Since we're basically all nice bunny by that Claude, by Nana on the Claude. So that's why we were able to take him down along with my ultimate. No need for any flickers. And preemptively casting my first skill to take that Guinevere down. We could have went for the juggler here, killing 2 people, 3 people. But our base is under siege. Nobody's there to do the defense. That was GG. That was already a perfect instance to have a different outcome to get the comeback. But in the end, Kimi did not have enough support with the physical damage and the sustain. Nana, the damage output is left far to be desired, and the enemy just scales better. Guinevere can scale so high in the late game. Karina can just go savage in the late game, and our heroes just fall off. Nana and Lolita fall off because they're just supports, and that's another weakness of having 2 supports in your team. So with that, I try to go for the physical build with this regular spear, but it's already gone too far down the road. So that's GG on our part. I hope you learned something from this video. Comment in the sections below if you think that I missed anything. I'm out.